Okay, guys, hello. This is the fifth lecture of this chapter, and in our previous lecture, we have discussed till here, and now we will start with the characteristics of isocon. And it this chapter might be finished in this lecture, so you need to focus here for the rest of the points in this chapter. Now, characteristics of the isocons. What is isocons? How does it slope? That we already have discussed in our previous lecture. Now we will see with the first point of the characteristics is isocon slopes down from left to right. So guys, here you can see isocon slopes down from left to right. And let me tell you that point A and point B both shows us that both the point will give us the equal quantity of production. You can take a combination of capital as E and labor as C, you will get 100 units of the production. And if you take F units of capital and D units of labor, then also you will get 100 unit of the production. So guys, this is how you can understand this graph, that by increasing the variable of the capital here, and if you decrease one factor, you need to increase other factor. If you increase one factor, you need to decrease other factor. So both are inverse, because you need to increase one with the substitutes of decreasing other. And when such kind of law is implemented, you will always get downward slope from left to right in any graph. So guys, isocont slopes down from left to right. Let's see, the negative slope of the isocont suggests that an increase in the quantity of labor employed must be associated with the decrease in the quantity of capital, so that output remain constant. Output remain constant whether you use this combination or whether you use this combination, your production will remain same, because as you have decreased the capital, you need to increase the labor. So here we will read more that conversely, an increase in the quantity of the capital must be accompanied by the decrease in the quantity of the labor, so that output remain constant. This is shown in the following diagram. So guys, as you can see over here, now we will move further in figure 9. As we have already seen this figure. In figure now, we move from A to B on the isocont IQ. Output remains constant because on the one hand quantity of labor employed increases by CD, while on the other hand quantity of capital increases by E to F. Now second, every isoconts represent a definite level of output. Higher the isocont, higher will be the level of output as shown in the diagram below. So guys, at this point we will get 100 units of the production, but when we increase our capital, when we increase our labor, when we increase all our factors of the production, we will also get increase in the output. So guys, this is very easy to understand that every isocont represent dependent level of output. Higher the isocont, so guys, this is higher isocont, higher the isocont, higher will be the level output as shown in the diagram below that we already have seen. Now we are given the explanation of this in figure 10. Isocont IQ2 is higher than the isocont IQ1. This means any factor combination situated on IQ2 yield greater output 200 unit as compared to any factor combination lying on IQ1 100 unit. Take point A and B as compared to combination A. Combination B includes the greater quantity of both labor and capital. So here we have greater quantity of both labor and capital. Therefore, B is greater than A. Now we will see third characteristics, that is no two isoconts can intersect each other. This can be proved with the help of diagram as below. So guys, no two isoconts can intersect each other. This can be proved by this diagram. Let's see, here we are given labor, here we are given capital on y-axis. We can see over here that no two isocont intersect each other. How? Let's see, in figure 11 two isocont intersects each other at point A. We can easily prove that this is absurd and unacceptable. B is equal to A because both are situated on the same isocont yq2. sorry, IQ2. C is equal to A because both are situated on the same isochrone IQ1. Therefore, B is equal to C. So, guys, here we are given that uh, at this point, for both, the labor and capital will be the same. So, whatever the labor and whatever the units of capital will be same for both kind of isochrones. So, this is not practically possible actually. Thus, we are forced to conclude that B and C combination yield the same output. This is not true, however. Combination C lies on the higher isochrone as compared to combination B. Also, combination C includes greater amount of both labor and capital as compared to combination E. Hence, combination C must yield greater output as compared to combination B. So, guys, as we are given that combination B here, we are given the IQ2, that is combination B is greater than combination C. So actually there will be more units of capital and more units of labor on the B or C, whichever is higher. So this is not practically possible. Now we will see fourth characteristics of isochrone, that is every isochrone is convex to the point of origin. In other words, the slope of isochrone diminishes as we move on it to the right. The convexity of isochrone implies that as we move to the right, quantity of the labor increases while that of capital diminishes. That means decreases. Consequently, marginal productivity of labor diminishes while that of the capital increases. In this situation, if output is remain constant, we must substitute the greater and greater amount of labor for each unit of capital lost. Alternatively, we may say that we will have to give up smaller and smaller quantity of capital for each additional unit of labor employed. See the isochrone schedule given below. When we move from A to B combination, 1 unit of labor is equal to 5 unit of capital. So when we move from B to C, 1 unit of labor is equal to 4 unit of capital, and so on. To use the economic jargon, marginal rate of technical substitutions of labor for capital diminishes gradually as we use more labor and less capital. So, guys, here we can clearly see that in the combination A, 1 unit of labor and 20 units of capital, we will get 100 units of the total output. In combination B, there is 2 units of labor and 15 units of capital. So, as we increased 1 unit of labor, we have decreased 5 units of capital. So, 1 is equal to 5. And in all such combination, we will get equal quantity of the production. Now, guys, we will see isocont line. So as we have seen four different points of characteristics of isocont, now we will move further to the next point and we will see isocont line. Let's see what is there in it. An isocont line is also known as equal expenditure curve. It is also a price line showing price of one factor in terms of another. Suppose the firm or the producer has 100 rupees. Guys, you need to focus on this example to understand this point very clearly. So suppose the producer has 100 rupees to spend and the price of land and labor are 5 and 10 respectively. If the firm spends the entire amount on land and it has a combination of 20 land 0 labor, alternatively if it spends the entire amount on labor, it has combination of 0 land and 10 labor. There are many other possible combination of the two factors representing equal expenditure. The following schedule would illustrate the point. So guys, when we have or when any firm have a limited amount of money, it need to adopt such kind of combination from which it got higher production, and we can say in the given budget or in the given or whatever the facility or whatever the availability of the money we have, we need to adopt such kind of combination which gives us a more production at a lower cost. So guys, let's see in combination A, when we adopt 20 units of land and no labor, then our combination will be 100. Our total expenditure will be 100. And when we use 10 units of land and 5 units of labor, then also we will spend 100. And when we use 100 sorry 0 units of land and 10 units of labor, then also our expenditure will be 100. So in 100 rupees expenditure, we can choose any three of these combination, any one of these three combination. So these things is also given in this diagram, that if we use 20 units of land, there will be 0 units of labor. When we use 10 units of land, 5 units of labor, and when we use 10 units of labor, 0 units of land. So guys, plotting the points A, B, C, etc., we get a line AC in figure 12. So we are given the line AC, which is an isocont line. This is known as isocont line. Every point on cost isocost cost shows he say the same amount of expenditure if the total outlay, or we can say expenditure. So uh, each point on this isocont line gives us same amount of expenditure, that you need to understand very well. Now we will read further of the firm, and we are left, or we are missing something. Let's read further. Of the firm and the price of two factors are given. An isocont curve indicates all possible combination of the two factors which the firm can have. Clearly, an isocost is the counterpart of the price line in difference curve analysis. So, as you understand this, that uh, each point on the isocont line uh, has the equal, or we can say the same amount of expenditure of the production. Now we will see equilibrium of the firm. The equilibrium of the firm is indicated by the tendency between the isocost curve and the isocont. If we have isoconts and the isocost curve, we can say which particular combination of the two factors would be the least cost combination. The least cost combination shows equilibrium position of the firm. So guys, here we are given the land on the y-axis and the labor on the x-axis, and we are given the isocost curve and isocont. Let's see what is there. In figure 13, the least cost combination is indicated by point C. So by point C, we are given least cost curve. It is at this point that the iso cost curve touches the highest possible isocont. Clearly, the isocont higher than IP2 is beyond the reach of the firm. Therefore, the combination of land and labor at point C, that is CD plus OD, is the least cost combination. It is the equilibrium of the position of the firm. So guys, you need to understand that how this point C will be the equilibrium of the firm for the production, because this might be the beyond the level of the capacity, and this might be the lower, or we can say a company still have some scope of the expansion. So point C will be the perfect for the equilibrium. Now guys, we will see expansion path. The indifference curve analysis and the isocont or isocost analysis come to identical conclusion. A consumer attains the equilibrium when the marginal ratio of substitutions between two commodities is equal to the price ratio of the two commodities. Similarly, the firm attains equilibrium when marginal rate of technical substitution between two factors is equal to the price ratio of the two factors. This is the condition of equilibrium of the consumer and a firm. Now we will read further. Now let us explain the expansion path of the firm with the help of isocont, isocost curve. Expansion path is a line. See guys, you need to note down these 2 3 lines, because this will be very important for your exam perspective. Expansion path is a line or a curve on which every point is an in equilibrium point, that is minimum cost combination of two factors at various level of output. As the firm tries to expand its output, it will try to see that it's attained equilibrium at the lowest cost at that output. This is nothing but the concept of minimizing cost and maximizing profit. Now we will read further. We assume that the price of two factors are given and the map of isoconts equal quantity curves is also given. Each higher isoconts represent higher level of output. Each higher isocost line shows higher level of cost, but the price of two variable factor x and y, or labor and capital, remain constant. The tendency between isocost and isocont indicates equilibrium, which shift as the firms moves from lower to higher level of production. A firm receiving maximum profit will produce at one or other point on the expansion path, because any other point outside will mean less maximum profit. So guys, you need to understand that how the isocont, how the isocost line will give the equilibrium to the form. And now we will move further and see the figure 14, that this is how the isocont line, and this is what the expansion line. Expansion means what? When you increase the factor x and factor y, or we can say when you increase the labor and the capital, you will get expansion. So at from point P to Q and from point Q to R, that means from point P to R, this is a path of expansion, means company increased its production. You can clearly understand that when you use a point of land at B point of labor, your production will be P. But when you use D point of labor and C point of land, your production will be Q, that is 100 to 200 and from 300. So this is called expansion. Expansion means to extend something. Now we will understand that in the above diagram, isocones are given IQ1, IQ2, IQ3, etc. And isocones are represented A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. The slope of isocones are constant because the price of two factors remain constant. Isocones are indicated by figures 100, 200, and 3, etc. Point P, Q are so equilibrium position of the form at different level of output, that is 100, 200, 300, etc. By joining these points, we get a line PQR, which shows us expansion path of the firm. It shows minimum cost combination of the two factors x and y at the various level of output. As the firm expands its output, the combination of two factors will change as indicated by the points on expansion firm. So guys, no need to read it further, but you just need to understand about what is expansion path, how do we get expansion path, and how does it look on the diagram as an expansion path. Now we will move further to the next point, that is economic region and ridge line. So, what is economic region and ridge line? Let's understand it clearly, and this may be the last point of your chapter. So, let's understand it. We are familiar with the shape of isocont because we already have discussed this. It is generally convex to the origin, but there may be exceptional isocont which may bend backwards at the upper and the slope upwards at the lower end, as shown below. So guys, on the x-axis we are given factor x, that is labor, and on the y-axis we are given factor y, that is capital. And this is how the slope we will get by increasing any one or two factors. So guys, here as we can see that when we use this kind of combination, we will get such kind of output. Let's understand the diagram given here. In the above diagram, isocones is abnormal beyond A1 and B1. So here we are given A1 and B1, and it has gone beyond of something. Between these 2 points, it is normal, that is convex to origin. The firm will produce only between A1 and B1. If the firm uses more factor X and Y or more of both factors, it will produce less than the output indicated by IQ1, that is 100 units. So when company go beyond this point, then there will be negative or we can say not a favorable result will be get by the company. Now we will see in the diagram below, we have different isocones indicating different levels of output. So in this diagram, on the we are given the factor x, that is labor on x-axis, and factor y, that is land on the y-axis, and we are given such kind of slopes and graphs. Let's understand what does it mean. In the diagram, OA and OB are called ridge line. Ridge line shows limits within which the firm will operate for production, because outside the ridge line, production will be uneconomic. It may be noted that the area within the ridge line is the area wherein the isocones are normal, that is convex to the origin. Outside this area, the isocones are not convex. The area between ridge line, that is OA and OB, uh, is called economic region. So guys, in this area from A1 B1, from A2 B2, from A, this area will be suitable for any company or any firm to do the production. But beyond this area, means beyond OA and OB, it will be unfavorable situation for the company to do the production. because there will be no convex line of the isochronous in the diagram. Now we will see the last paragraph of this chapter. In the economic region, certain units of labor and capital can be employed to produce 100, 200, or 300 units as shown by respective isochrones. Any point outside the economic region is called uneconomic because less output will be produced by the combination of two factors, one or both of which are more than required for production. This is clearly a waste, and therefore a firm will always try to remain in the economic region which lies within the two ridge line. Obviously, the firm will not produce at any point above OA or below OB line. The above analysis shows the relevance of that portion of the isochrones which the firm would always like to keep in the mind while taking production decision. So guys, that's it for the from this chapter. And now we will again see the all points that we have already discussed in this chapter, and then we will come up with your last chapter of the syllabus. Now let's see what we have discussed. So from last two, first we have discussed expansion path, we have discussed characteristics of isoquant, we have discussed isoquants, we have discussed external diseconomies, we have discussed internal diseconomies, we have discussed types of external diseconomies, we have discussed types of internal diseconomies. Then we have seen internal external diseconomics, causes of decreasing return, causes of constant return, then causes of increasing returns. Then we will see that returns to scale. Then we have seen the industries in which the particular law is used, and that was law of diminishing returns and expansions of the law, sorry, explanation of the law. Then we have seen law of variable proportion, types of production function, and as we have come up on the front page, uh, production function and meaning of production. So guys, these are here we are given 22 points in this chapter. This chapter is quite big, so we need to take 5 lectures for this chapter. And from the exam point of view, this is a very, very, very important chapter, and you need to do the preparation as well, as your exam will be in the first week of the January. So you have left with very few days. So do preparation. If you need any help from me, then I am always ready to help you. So you just need to contact me for a particular query or a particular question or a particular point. Then I'll try my best to solve your problem as soon as possible. And that's it for today in this lecture. And as we have finished your chapter, we will come up with new chapter, and that will be your last chapter of the Bcom semester 1 economic syllabus. Okay guys, goodbye, good night.